So the reason that we need meditation is because we are addicted to our thoughts. Yes, we have an addiction, and that addiction is thinking. So for this to really sink in, I want you to do an experiment with me right now. You might be feeling a little bit lazy, but please just do this little experiment with me because it's going to make the whole rest of the video make so much more sense. So what I want you to do, after I've explained this, I want you to pause the video and I want you to sit and I want you to spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, trying not to think a single thought. Once you've done that, come back and unpause the video. So, how did that go? Well, probably pretty poorly. I imagine there are some of you who are so impatient that you didn't even go along with it and you just gave up after less than 5 minutes, or you perhaps didn't even attempt it at all. And with those of you that did, you probably found that it is impossible to just switch off your brain and not think for 5 minutes. Now, some of you might have been clever about it though. Some of you might have thought, hey, Matt, I know this, I've watched your videos on meditation, I know that just trying not to think is like the dreaded, trying not to think of a pink elephant. You can't do it because just that act of trying makes you end up thinking. So you might know from my meditation videos that the way to get yourself to not think is to actually do something else, to put your attention elsewhere. So maybe you tried that, maybe you put your attention on your breath and you watched your breath come and go and you meditated for the 5 minutes. And if you did that, great idea. But unless you've been doing that consistently every day for a long time now, you probably found that you spent a great deal of that time still thinking. Because, you put your attention on your breath and you watch your breath for, maybe 15, 20 seconds and then you start thinking about that thing from yesterday and then you start wondering when you're going to do it again and you start thinking about that conversation that you had last week and then about that random picture that you saw, that funny picture on Facebook, and how you need to share it with your friend later, and then suddenly you realize, oh my god, I was supposed to be focusing on my breath and I've just gone off and started thinking for the last god knows how long. And so you bring your attention back to your breath and you keep focusing on your breathing in and out, and then you're thinking about how it was raining earlier and you wonder if it's still wet outside and you still need to do the shopping, and then oh look, now you're thinking again. And it's because we have an addiction to thought. You see, thought, just like anything else, is a habit. We are habitually thinking all of the time, every day, non-stop, and when you do something that often, it really does become a habit, and it's so ingrained that when you try to sit and just focus on something else, it's like being a smoker. Suddenly that craving to think comes up, only your brain goes a step further than just craving that thought. It actually craves it and then it goes out and it gets it, and you seemingly can't stop it. You can keep bringing your attention elsewhere, but it just reaches out and grabs that thought again. And this is a serious problem. It might not seem so evident when you're not just sitting there and trying not to think, but that addiction to thought gets us in trouble everywhere else in our lives too. You see, when you're trying to work on a project and you're trying to focus on this one thing, the problem with your addiction to thought is that you aren't just addicted to thinking about the one thing at hand that you're doing right now. You are addicted to going off on all of these wild trains of thought. And so that's exactly what you start doing. You're trying to work on this art project, for example, and your brain is wondering about combining 2 different weird flavors of food that you ate 3 years ago, or something equally random and unrelated to what you're doing, and it's not helping you with the thing that you're trying to focus on. And that's because of that addiction to thought. And it's not just when you're trying to be productive either. You don't just get distracted by those thoughts when you're trying to be productive. Those thoughts are what cause anxiety and depression. You start ruminating about the future. You get in bed at night and you're meant to be going to sleep, but instead you're thinking about that appointment that you have next week. You're thinking about that party that you're going to at the weekend and whether or not the girl that you like is going to be there, and you're thinking about that thing that you did 6 years ago that was super embarrassing and that you wish you said this or did this differently, and all of this leads to you feeling bad about the past and anxious about the future, and creates serious disorders that interfere with your normal day-to-day living. And once again, that's all because of your addiction to thought. And it's an issue when you're trying to have fun too, because the thing is, when your mind is so out of sync, it's 10 weeks in the future thinking about that event that you're going to, or stuck in the past thinking about your regrets and the things that you wish you did differently, or it's just elsewhere, then all of that is going to mean that you can't really focus on enjoying the activity that you're actually doing right now. And you might have noticed this. If you're like me, as an example, and you play games, you probably have a big Steam library at this point. And yet you probably go and you look at that Steam library and you see these hundreds of games and you think, what game do I play now? And you sit there and you stare at this library, and with all of these games that you were oh so excited to buy at the time, you still can't find one that you actually want to play at the moment. Or you open up YouTube, or you open up TikTok, or you open up Instagram, and you scroll and you scroll and you scroll looking for that one thing that is going to be exciting, that's going to make you smile, that's going to make your day and actually make you enjoy yourself, and just kind of not finding it. That is a very, very normal experience for a lot of people, and it once again stems from that little addiction to thought, because we are constantly elsewhere in our minds, and so we are not able to take the enjoyment from the thing that we're doing. We just don't connect with it because we're not here and we're not present. But if you get your mind back in sync and you get present again, then you can sit down and you can open up any game from your Steam list and actually have a good time. You can open up YouTube and you can go to the first video that you see and you can actually really enjoy it. Or you can just go outside, sit down in the grass, look up at the sky and actually have a good time just doing nothing. And that right there is the main benefit of meditation. When you sit down and you relax and you focus on your breath coming and going, and every time, that craving kicks in, just like that craving for a cigarette if you're a smoker trying to quit, that craving kicks in and you ignore it and you bring your attention back to your breath. Or, maybe that craving overtakes you and, just like a smoker who's trying to quit and slips up and has a cigarette, instead of letting that defeat you and you going, oh no, I had that cigarette, I'm done for, I should just give up quitting now. Instead of that, you say, okay, I had the one, whatever, it's done with now, I'm going to return my attention back to quitting thought and focusing on my breath. And you do that over and over and over again, and just like quitting smoking, it's going to be hard at the start and you're going to have those cravings all of the time, and maybe you give in to them a few times. But as time passes and you keep repeating this, you're going to find that addiction to thought wanes. It gets less and less strong and it holds less power over you. And so you're going to find that when you're meditating, you're actually able to go long periods of time just paying attention to your breath without a single thought cropping up in your head. And this doesn't just apply when you're sitting to meditate though. This applies everywhere else. When you're working on those projects, you're actually going to find that you get a lot more done and you're a lot more efficient because you're not caught up in your head the whole time. Ideas are just going to come to you because they're not blocked out by all of that conscious thinking and ruminating and analysing. And not just that, but you might actually find that work starts to be fun. This is kind of a weird thing, but actually I think one of the reasons that we don't enjoy working is because it's a lot like procrastinating. It's sort of this feeling that we're spending our time in a way that we don't want to be spending it. We want to be getting something out of this and we're not. But when you actually are present with your work, you feel good about the fact that you're getting something done. And so you can actually get enjoyment out of being productive. And of course, when you are trying to relax and have fun, you're going to find that you enjoy all of those things. You enjoy actually opening up that Steam game, you enjoy opening up that YouTube video, and you actually get some happiness out of those everyday activities. You're going to find that you ruminate less, so you're going to have an easier time falling asleep, you're going to have less anxiety about the future, and you're going to feel less depressed about the past. All of this just by spending some time sitting each day and paying attention to your breath. It's really not that hard to do. It's going to feel frustrating at first because of those cravings, but when you actually apply it every single day, day in, day out, your entire life is going to improve so dramatically that you're just going to be like, really? Sitting every day did that? But it did. So here's my request to you, my suggestion to you, and that is that if you take no other advice from my channel, even if you click off after this video and you never watch another video of mine again, just take this one piece of advice and start meditating each day. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about meditation, I have an entirely free course on my channel teaching you everything from how to do it, to the different sitting positions and how they affect meditation, to whether you want to have your eyes open or closed, and different styles of meditation and so on. So check that out if you want to learn more. If you like this video and you want more videos, make sure you subscribe and enable all notifications so you can stay up to date with my new videos as they come out. And if you want to keep watching right now, check out one of those videos on screen, go watch that, and I'll see you there soon. Take care.